What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to the JTFB channel. And it's been a crazy last 7 days. If you follow me on Twitter, if you don't, you've seen me and Rio's live show that we did. If you didn't, check that out. Go ahead and click that. Go over to the live videos that we did. And me and Rio went in after training camp and just kind of talked about everything we saw. But training camp's been crazy so far, guys. This has been hands down the best I'd say week of my content creating life since 2018, just about. So it's been crazy though. So appreciate everyone that's been going nuts on Twitter. If you don't follow me already, you see it at the bottom of the screen there at Josh Taylor FB, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the like if you enjoy what you see, and then drop your comments and thoughts on everything. But on this video, I'm talking about the training camp stock risers so far. We've had 7 total days of practice yesterday, and I went ahead and dropped this graphic on Twitter, and I decided to really just go in depth and tell you exactly why I picked these guys. Now, this isn't just saying like these are the only guys that have looked good in training camp, because there's more that have looked good. But this is just, in my opinion, going into training camp, going into this off season, I've had certain expectations, and I've had some, I'd say every single player on our team have a certain level to their game. And this, in my opinion, is saying like, based off of where I had these guys going into this offseason, they have impressed me more. And I feel like their stock's gone up, on the field, but then also just in my opinion, of these guys and just what I thought of them. So I'm going to go through the 7 of them. I'm not going to do like some crazy in-depth breakdown, but just give you my thoughts on why I picked these 7 guys. And then I'm going to do some more in-depth breakdowns on some of these guys coming up. But first off, obviously, I'd say my stock's pretty high right now. When you have Kay Adams send you a personal video from training camp, I couldn't make it. You guys know I live here in Austin, Texas. I was at training camp last week, and I couldn't make it. I didn't know she was going to be there until like the day I left. So super heartbreaking. But I will be going back to training camp. I will be at training camp on the 18th and the 19th, which is the last 2 days that it is open to the public, and I have a ton of stuff for the preseason games. I'll be going live on Bleacher Report for the Browns game. I'll be at the Ravens game in person, doing some videos and just talking, live tweeting, whatever. And I'll be live on Bleacher Report again for that Bengals game, giving you a play-by-play and just my reactions throughout the game. So stay tuned, guys. There is so much coming up. This team is just popping right now. I think we're hot. I think we're hot on Twitter. I think we're hot just in the national media. This fan base is excited. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm stoked right now to be a fan. This is the most fun I've had as a content creator in a long time. Not even just watching stuff, but just football in general. Like, I'm so excited for this season. But nonetheless, the first person on my my stock rises for training camp, this is no surprise. I'm starting with the good one, and that's QB1 Sam Howell. And I picked Sam Howell because obviously he looked really good to end the season. He beat the Cowboys. But this is something I've been telling people throughout training camp, throughout the offseason. When you go back and watch that game, and I've watched that game probably like 30 times. I'm not even kidding. I've watched that game many, many times. When you go back and you watch that game and you watch what Sam Howell did to the Cowboys, he wasn't even QB1 like going into the week of practice. It took Taylor Heinicke saying like, why is this guy not practicing? He needs to be the quarterback for this last game. And they said, okay, yeah, you're right. We need Sam Howell to be quarterback. He did not know that playbook. He did not know the adjustments. He did not know much of that offense at the time. So what we saw out of Sam Howell in that Cowboys game was strictly just Sam Howell being Sam Howell and just being a good quarterback. I'm telling you guys, I've scouted Sam Howell more than any other player that I've ever scouted and broke down and really just evaluated in my life. I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years now. Sam Howell is the guy I looked at the most, and I had so much fun watching Sam Howell tapes. There's some good, there's some bad, of course. But when you watch that Cowboys game, that's just Sam Howell just freestyling it. That's him being him. He did not know most of the playbook. He didn't know, the adjustments, the audibles, the progressions he's supposed to be going through. He didn't know all this. He was just out there freestyling pretty much, guys. You're not having that much practice as quarterback one. I mean, you're barely getting any valuable reps throughout the entire season. You had a couple in preseason, like you've had some warm-ups, but you're running with the 2s, with the 3s mostly at that time. You're not running with your 1s. You're not running with the main offense. So for me, when I watched that game, that's the same Howell that I knew in college, that Cowboys game. So going into the season, I'm like, look, he's going to have a full offseason, new offensive coordinator, new complex, very advanced offense through Eric Bieniemy. I think this is a perfect pairing, by the way, these two guys. I'm going to do a video on just talking about Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy and how I think Sam Howell's really in the best position that he could be in the NFL right now. When he talked about the teams that needed a quarterback, where he went to, how our offense is going to be with Eric Bieniemy. I think this is the perfect situation for Sam Howell. But just watching him in practice, seeing how he's been, yeah, he's had some growing pains, but man, he's made some just crazy throws. These are the throws that I know he could make, but I'm seeing the progressions, the details of it, the meeting with Eric Bieniemy after the plays, walking through his decisions and stuff like that. I'm seeing that more detailed, not just on the field skill set stuff, but the things you don't think about, the playbook, the making the adjustments, the staring down his receivers less. That's something that people have said that he does a good bit. Yes, because he's learning, he's going through the progressions once again. He has to read the defense. There's so much that's going on at the same time, but it seems like he's getting better at it. So, of course, I could put Sam Howell on here. I think he's had a great training camp. Apparently, today has been his best practice so far, from what I've heard. But every day I was there. Yes, Saturday he had a couple. He had 2 interceptions. I want to say maybe it was just one to Forbes. I can't remember. I think Brissett had the other one. Maybe he just had the one. But he's been great every day. Like, it's just, this guy does not look like a 5th-round quarterback, and I didn't think he would, honestly. Second off, I have a guy that not a lot of people know about. That's Mason Brooks, undrafted free agent out of Ole Miss from this past draft. We signed him right after the draft. This was a top priority free agent that Ron Rivera said. Like, this is one of the top guys we wanted to go after. He played tackle at Western Kentucky, I want to say, and then he transferred to Ole Miss for like that last year. He's played just about everywhere on the line. But I think he's got a really good shot to compete for that left guard spot, which seems like it's going to Chris Paul right now. And he's one that I didn't put on the list, but I think as this camp goes forward, he can be one of those guys that makes this list for me. But I think for Mason Brooks, he had a really good practice when I was there. He was taking on reps from some top tier guys. I forgot who. Fedarian Mathis was the guy that went after him twice on one-on-ones, and Brooks beat him twice. Beat him back times. I'm very high on Mathis, by the way. If y'all know me, I'm a big Alabama guy. I love Fedarian Mathis, but Brooks has been looking great in training camps. This is a guy I've talked to a good bit. We talk on Twitter. He was giving me recommendations on places to eat in Austin. I feel really good about Mason Brooks. He's definitely going to make this team, in my opinion, because Sadiq Charles seems to have these lingering injuries. Like, now he has a calf injury. It just seems like there's always something that's always there injury-wise for Sadiq Charles. He has the physical stuff, but we just can't seem to keep him on the field to see what we actually have in him. So I think Mason Brooks has been taking a lot of these opportunities and making the most out of it. Another guy, this isn't someone that it's not that I was down on him. It's just another one of these wild cards, and that's Benjamin St-Juste, old Ben St-Juste. I love St-Juste. I love how he plays. He's very physical. I love how he looked against the Vikings when he was running with Justin Jefferson. Of course, Jetta's going to get his. Yeah, that's the best wide receiver in the league. But there's times where he was winning, the punch up in the end zone. I think Danny Johnson's the one that intercepted it. Ben St-Juste has shown a lot of good stuff. But once again, he has some of these lingering little teeny injuries that just keep coming back. You're like, what the heck? We've got to keep him on the field to see what we got. So, you go Emmanuel Forbes, you go Quan Martin. You're kind of saying, well, why? Like, what does that mean with St-Juste? But for me, Ben, he's looked great. I mean, he's had a phenomenal camp. He's someone that's all over the field. The only person that's given him some fits is the guy who's last on my list. And honestly, it's a size thing. It's a mismatch, especially with the guy who's an athletic freak. But I think St-Juste has looked great. I think he's been, like I said, all over the place. He's been great in coverage. There was one play the other day. Gosh, I forgot who went deep. It was either Dyami or Jahan, but it was a long cross pattern, upfield safety bit, and St-Juste had the IQ to switch when he saw that. I think maybe it was Dyami. Maybe it was. Dyami was going deep, and he picked him up. It would have been an easy touchdown nonetheless, but he had that IQ to switch, pick up this guy going deep, stuck with him. Great coverage. He came out a little late, but he was right there where he needed to be. So St-Juste he's on the rise right now. Like, his stock is high right now. He looks great. And with this defense, you're going to rotate a lot. There's so much you can do with this defense. It's just the thing with St-Juste is he doesn't get those turnovers, which is something that maybe that's why Ron said, look, we need to get Quan Martin. We need to get Emmanuel Forbes because, pass breakups and playing good coverage is nice, but we need some turnovers. Fourth, this is a guy who a lot of us were writing off. Like, this is make or break year. We didn't pick up his 5th-year option. That's Chase Young. The superstar, the face of the defense. Like, this is supposed to be the guy, the number 2 overall pick. We put off getting a franchise quarterback because Chase Young is supposed to be this generational type player, and he started out hot. Of course, he had the injury, so we're looking to see how he looks coming back. But in my opinion, he looks phenomenal. I think he looks fresh. He has that burst. He has that twitch to him. But the thing with Chase Young that I'm noticing the most, it's not even just how he looks, speed-wise and health-wise. He's always depending on going to that outside as the edge rusher. He's not used to like going inside and winning inside. But so far in camp, I don't know what kind of like training he's been doing this offseason. I know he's been working with Ohio State's defensive line coach a lot this season with some other guys on the team. But he's been much better at using his hands, the hand placement, fighting the offensive lineman's hands and getting to the inside, not just going to the outside and getting rushed outside of the play and just wasted movement and stuff like that, like hesitating at the line. He's making quick, decisive actions, whether it's power, speed, but he's going to the inside finally. I love seeing that out of Chase. So right now, I'm expecting a huge season out of Chase. I'm saying there's a chance that he could have the most sacks on the team. Like I'm that high on Chase right now. And y'all know I've, been critical on him, and rightfully so. Like I said, he's supposed to be the guy. We want to see that generational type player come back. Next up on my list, number 5. This is in no order, by the way. This is just guys. Like I said, this isn't even everybody. This is just guys who I think have improved their stock over training camp. This is a guy that I was already super high on, but he plays like a veteran. He's a rookie. He was our second round pick, and that's Quan Martin. And I love this guy. If you've, watched some of my videos, you've seen me as a guest on some other videos. People say, like, who do you think could be like the dark horse, like breakout player on defense? And I said it might be a hot take, but I'm saying Quan Martin because this guy was the leader on that Illinois defense, that secondary that was loaded with talent. He just does a ton of pass breakups, a lot of interceptions. He has that ball hawk mentality. Not as much as Forbes because he plays that, traditional corner spot, like that ball hawk ability. But he is so rangy. He is a guy that can go sideline to sideline. He's faster than you think. But he's just so smart. He always is in the position that he needs to be. Very, very, very rarely will you see Quan Martin out of position, like just in a busted coverage or anything like that. He is always where he needs to be. That's where he is. Where the play goes to, Quan Martin's going to be there. So I think Quan Martin's going to take the league by notice, just quick. I'm expecting big things out of him. I know a lot of people I don't really know too much about this guy. Why did we go like with him in the second round? We could have gone offensive line, but I think he's quickly going to show. And I told y'all when he visited late in the draft process, I was like, Quan Martin is a guy that's super high on their list, by the way. Next up, second last one, I got wide receiver Dyami Brown. Yes, there's some things that Dyami Brown still needs to work on, and Anthony Armstrong did a great video on it. I think it was today, so check out Anthony Armstrong. I'm sure you follow him on Twitter, former Washington wide receiver. Really, I love talking wide receiver, by the way. That's probably my favorite position to evaluate and look at and just study. But there's a couple things that Dyami Brown needs to work on, yes. But he has shown me so much more this camp already. And maybe it is because he has his old college quarterback with Sam Howell as quarterback 1 now. But I've seen a lot more out of Dyami, a lot better route running, the patience, the catching with his hands, the winning his routes, getting that separation, not just depending on going deep all the time. I want to see that underneath Dyami. I want to see where he can get across the middle of the field like Terry can, like Jahan is really good at. But in my opinion, there's been days where Dyami Brown was catching everything. That first, was it Thursday practice, I want to say? Jacoby Brissett tossed up. It was like a little 35, maybe 40-yarder, like a jump ball, and he just mossed Tariq Castro Fields for it. But just showing that he can do that catch radius, the ability to go up and get these passes. Dyami Brown, this is like his make or break year, in my opinion. If you can't do it with your former quarterback in college, which you broke a lot of records with, by the way, then when are you going to do it? So Dyami Brown, he's on the rise right now for that. I would say, obviously, wide receiver 4 spot. Maybe Pringle can compete for that spot. I don't know. Pringle's looked really good too, but I've already liked Pringle, so I didn't put him on my list. And the last one is a guy that I was super wrong about this whole offseason. That's Logan Thomas. Like I said, this is the guy that gave Ben St. Juice some struggles when he was in the slot as that nickel corner. There's a lot of times where it's either like an underneath route, like a little short route, like a little drag or something like that. There's also some vertical routes that Logan Thomas has been doing. Logan looks great. I said it a lot. He looked really stiff. He looked really awkward last season running these routes after the catch, whatever it was. Logan Thomas just did not look comfortable on the football field last season. But I can tell a difference already, whether it's blocking, whether it's getting open. And there's one play that really stuck out to me. There's a couple. First off, Sam Howell loves looking his way. He loves that big, taller target, especially across the middle of the field, like, in traffic. he's looking at Logan Thomas a lot. So I would say, not only just like stock for on the field, but like fantasy football wise, I'd say Logan Thomas's stock is much improved compared to last year. And then you have Eric Bieniemy working with him. So like he knows what he wants out of his tight ends. Obviously coming over with Travis Kelce, he's expecting a lot out of Logan Thomas, and I am too. But I'm telling you guys, there was a play where it was like a tight end screen. And, it's like one of these delayed blocks, like he's blocking, the guard pulls, and he comes back around and he catches it. And he turns to his right, and I don't know who it was. It was a defensive tackle, I want to say, was right there. Logan Thomas juked him out. I mean, the D tackle fell. Everyone's oohing and ahhing on the sideline, like going crazy. And he cuts back up the field and he just goes straight and probably picks up another 10 yards. So like that burst, that comfortability, and the change of direction, stuff like that, we did not see out of Logan last year. I think we've already seen it a good bit in camp. So let me know what you think about these guys. I've had a ton of fun watching these guys in camp so far. Training camp has been a blast. I cannot wait to be back there. And then preseason is next week, y'all. I'll be on Rio's channel. We're going to be talking about the Browns game. So before, the game even kicks off, obviously the Browns play tonight. They play the Jets in the Hall of Fame game. Going to be watching that so we can take a little look at some depth guys and who really impresses for the Browns, so we know how our players really look against the Browns next week in that preseason game. So like I said, hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter if you don't already. The content's blowing up. It is because of y'all, so I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time here on JTFB. Peace.